Hello everybody, Road Warrior 627 here, and welcome to another Thoroughbred Racing preview on my channel. Today we're going to be discussing Saturday's other big race. We already talked about the Kentucky Derby with some special guests. Now we're going to be talking about the Grade 1 Woodward Handicap, and it's very pleasing to be able to say that at Saratoga Racecourse on closing weekend. This will be the last Saratoga video of the year before we head back to my favorite place on earth, beautiful Belmont Park. The 11th race at Saratoga on Saturday, September 5th, Derby Day. Post time is 5:30. Plenty of time to get ready for the Derby afterwards. They're an hour and a half apart. Shouldn't have any problems with that. Now, we did get some news today, and that is that New York casinos may reopen at 25% capacity. The private ones. The Native Americans have been able to open their casinos already. So what does that mean for racetracks? Well, as far as I know, it means nothing. And that's really, really sad, because racetracks are a lot less dangerous than casinos. You're not dealing with air-conditioned environments for the most part. You're dealing with a lot of outdoor spaces. Case in point, beautiful Belmont Park. Everybody that's been there knows how much outdoor space there is. And it's really a shame that Cuomo, who at the beginning of this crisis, I thought he was doing a very good job. And I still think he's done some things very well. But the whole thing with the indoor dining and opening certain places while not opening others, especially him and de Blasio letting gyms reopen, but you're not going to let people go to the racetrack when they've been doing it in Jersey for 2 months? It's ridiculous. I still think Cuomo hates horse racing. So Cuomo, and I don't use these words a lot, but fuck you. Alright, moving on. One thing before we get to the field today. Last week was pretty good because Channel Maker came home and drove off to win the Sword Dancer. Now, I didn't pick him as far as my betting ideas, but I did, like I said, if I had a gun to my head, I would have picked him on top. And I put in the comments down below that both Pedro Cara and him would benefit from the really soft ground. If you watched my Twitter page, I originally picked Pedro Cara because I thought he'd be the better price. Of course, that switched. So with a few minutes to post, I tweeted out that I switched the showdown pick to Channel Maker, and it all worked out. My only cash on the day as far as that contest was concerned. Pedro Cara, I don't know what happened to him, but he ran horribly. So at least one of the two opinions was a good one. And also, I love that horse. So big congratulations to him. But let's move from the soggy turf last week to the present concern, which will be a fast dirt track on Saturday at the Spa. A field of 6 for this Woodward. We'll start with number 1, and that's Math Wizard, who's best remembered for pulling a 31-1 upset in the Pennsylvania Derby last year. He's got the big Monmouth Cup effort recently, but looking at his other races, I think he's outclassed. And he hasn't won since that PA Derby either. He's 12-1 on the morning line. And if you like him, I think that's a fair price. I do not particularly like him. Number 2 is the troublemaker, or should I say the trouble-e, Tacitus. You know him after his Tampa Bay Derby and Wood Memorial wins last year. He was highly touted going into Kentucky. I think he went off between 5 and 7-1 as a very select choice. Since then, nothing but good efforts, some bad luck, and no wins. But finally, last time at beautiful Belmont Park, he put it together to win the Suburban in a very impressive time of 1:59 2/5. He's way the horse to beat in here. And he's got Jose Ortiz back as his regular rider. Ain't that nice? He's even money on the morning line. Number 3 is Moretti, who probably wishes they lengthened this Woodward handicap to more than 1.25 miles. He probably wishes it was 1.5 miles, like it was when Secretariat got beat by Alan Jerkins' prove out. But It's not. He's still probably going to be up near the pace. He's going to be fighting for with Global Campaign, in my estimation, who's just to his outside. It's not great that he's drawn inside of him, but maybe he does get sent. I'm not really sure. It's going to be interesting to see what the 3 and 4 do in the early stages. He's not Tacitus, but he's not bad. I know he got dusted last time, but this horse just seems to stick around whenever something gets thrown at him. His last race wasn't great, but I still think at 8-1 in here on the morning line, he represents a little bit of value, and you might get a fighter to hang on in your exactas or triples. Also, there's one thing I forgot to mention. The 1.25 miles of this Woodward, I know I mentioned I'm very glad they made it a handicap again. I'm very glad that they lengthened it as well. We need to see horses given the opportunity to go these longer distances, and I know it's just 1/8 of a mile, but when the Woodward was 1.1 1/8, it was essentially a downgraded Whitney every year. This is better. It has its own identity now. It used to be at Belmont to be 1.1 1/8 and then 1.25 miles, and like I said, 1.5 miles back at Belmont in the old days. And this at least is an attempt of getting this race back in the right direction. Number 4 is Global Campaign, who's the second choice on the morning line at 5-2. He's got some competitive figs in his last 3 wins dating back to last year. But last time, I don't like that Math Wizard almost came and got him. It really left a bad taste in my mouth when reading the PPs. I did not watch the Monmouth Cup. Maybe I should have before this video, but I just feel like he had everything his own way. And Math Wizard, for all the crap I gave him earlier, he actually ran a pretty damn good race closing into that pace. But considering I don't like Math Wizard that much, why am I supposed to like Global Campaign if that was one of his better efforts? I feel like he's on and off. He should be up there with Saez. I don't know if he's going to last. I'd like to see somebody try and beat him for the place and show spot. So Global Campaign is someone I'm going to try and get rid of in my exactas and triples to try and create some value. Not that I don't respect him. I think he's a far more likely second place finisher than Moretti or Spinoff or Prioritize, and obviously Math Wizard. But we're trying to make money here, and sometimes you can't go with the most probable angle. Another horse who I look at even less fondly is number 5, Spinoff. And that's not because I don't respect him either. He's 3-1 on the morning line. It's Irad and Pletcher. How can you not respect this horse? He won last time out, but he had a pretty easy trip. The thing that gets me is he's consistent. I love horses like that have consistent. They show up every time. He just seems like a cut below in here. And at 3-1, I'm willing to take some shots against them in the second and third spot. So once again, I think there's better value elsewhere. And part of that better value, in addition to Moretti, who I talked about earlier, is number 6, Prioritize. He's taking a giant step up. But the figs here, there's continuous improvement. James Bond, James Bond is on fire. And he had a sharp 5 furlong work last time out. So I think this is a horse that you might want to try and get into your exactas, or in my case, the end of the triple, to try and make some extra money with Tacitus. So how am I going to pick this race? Well, Tacitus, I think he'll eke it out. I think even if he doesn't show up with his best effort, that he is the most talented. I'm not trying to beat him. So how do you try and make money underneath? Well, you try and find some prices. And I think Moretti, the 3, and Prioritize, the 6, can fit that profile. I think Moretti has the potential to come back with a better effort after his lackluster Suburban last time, where he did finish second to Tacitus, just barely, albeit. But I think he'll show up with a better effort, and his front-running style lends itself to a 1.1 1/8 race at Saratoga. Tacitus, aforementioned, does not have a front-running style, but I think he's just too good. Prioritize, I think, has the potential to run big just off of his continuous improvement. This is more of a shot in the dark than anything else, trying to make money in the triple. And then Global Campaign, the 4, I just put him 4th out of respect because of the 3 that were left, the 1, 4, and 5, I did respect him the most because he's run those good races multiple times. So the idea is to get the other 2 shorties, who I'm not that big a fan of, Global Campaign, who I picked 4th, and Spinoff, who I picked either 5th or 6th. I don't really care beyond the first 4. To try and get those 2 out of the triple. So what would I do if I was playing this race? I would play very simple bets. I would do a $1 exacta box, 2, 3, 6, and a $1 triple box, 2, 3, 6, with a small win bet on Moretti, who's the long shot that I like the most, in case Tacitus doesn't show up. And you might think 8 to 1's not a long shot, but in this field, he's the 4th choice. You can kind of consider him one. Alright, everybody, thank you very much for listening. Really appreciate it. If you didn't watch the Kentucky Derby video, please go back and watch it. It's very long, but you can skip to any horse you want at any time with the timestamps in the description. I was joined by Sammy Roseman, Jack Sargent of Racing Rundown, and Nathan, also known as Sketchy the Horse Guy. So hopefully you enjoyed this video, you enjoy that one. Play the races very responsibly on Saturday. There's a lot of stuff going on. Saratoga, Churchill Downs will be the main attractions. Obviously both cards have ginormous number of races, 14 at Churchill, 12 at Saratoga. A lot of potential to lose your money, so please remember, pay your bills first, and don't forget to enjoy a beautiful day of racing that we've been waiting for a long time. Good luck.